Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out episode 2 of Summertime Rendering. So the first episode had a lot of stuff in it, and I feel like part of that was setting up the mystery. I know that this is a mystery and I'm supposed to have lots of questions and not really know what's going on, but I also want to know all the answers. So it's a little bit difficult for me to just like have lots of questions. I feel like especially since there are people who know the story a bit better because there's like source material to check out, that I'm sure that I'm asking questions that there are clear answers for and I just need to be patient. I understand that, but it's hard for me because this is a mystery series where I literally have to wait a week before I get any more information, and it's driving me a little bit crazy, especially since we ended the last episode with a giant reveal in that a couple of our main characters were killed and then it reset time and we're starting a loop again, which, I mean, I love time travel stories. I love things that have kind of a supernatural feeling to them, but also have like those mystery kind of elements and stuff in it too. People seem to be excited about this series too, people who have read the source material, and they say that if it follows that story, it's going to be really good. So I'm very, very excited, but I want to figure out a little bit more about what the time reset means. What are these shadow things that copy people? There's like doppelgangers around, there's like legends, there's like a lot of stuff going on. I don't know how long I'm gonna have to wait to like fully find out what happens, but at the end of the last episode we had time reset. We got to the part where he was coming off of the boat again, so the funeral and stuff hasn't happened yet, the little girl hasn't gone missing, so we're going to see what happens. I don't know if he's gonna know exactly what's going on. I feel like this episode might be him trying to figure out what exactly happened and why he's started the day over again, and he's probably gonna try and talk to people about it, and they're gonna think he's a little bit crazy. I don't really think that we're going to get anywhere possibly useful in the story. We might get a different outcome, since I assume he isn't going to run into the forest again because that ended poorly for him, but I assume that a lot of this is going to be him trying to figure out what exactly is going on, because not only is there a mysterious death, these doppelgangers, but he's also traveling backwards in time, so I'm sure he's dealing with a lot right now, but we'll see what other information we are given in this episode. So let's check out episode 2. In 3, 2, 1, go. I love the glitching thing. I don't know, something about that effect. It's very, like, disorienting. Oh, we're going back to the saving the girl? Why are we here seeing this? So is he getting a glimpse of it when the time resets? What, what a weird, like, shock though, between like seeing her basically die and then, like, I don't know if she actually did in that moment before he was shot, I can't remember, but then being face to face with her in the reset again. Oh, that's right, he was talking to her and then she was digging out. He's gonna have to try and figure out what exactly is going on. Ooh, is he gonna think the whole thing's a dream? It's a good question. This is gonna be really disorienting for him to try and figure it out. So you like horror mysteries? Oh, okay, so you've also come across a similar story. Oh. Yeah, I see how you might justify that. I mean, especially since like your brain wants to make it the most normal thing possible, and I feel like especially since there's a bunch of trauma mixed up with what happened, that he would want to believe it was something other than reality. Like it, you would want to just like not be not believe that it was real, because then you have to accept that the trauma happened, but then also you have to be able to make it make sense in your brain that this thing is happening, that you are stuck in a time loop of some kind. Which I mean, I don't know what my brain would do if that happened. I already have bad nightmares. I feel like it would take me a minute to figure out whether or not it was real too. I feel like my brain would default to it being a bad dream. I really feel like the drawings are going to be like super important, and at some point during this series they're going to click in my brain and I'm going to be like, oh, that's what that meant. This opening is pretty trippy too, but also like very stark in terms of the coloring. I feel like maybe the show might have a limited color palette in general in terms of like hues, because I feel like a lot of it is blue and like a orangey yellow that's just kind of like filtered over a lot of it, especially since there's a lot of like shadows, like stark shadows versus like direct light. Serious case of deja vu. You'd better stop her bike this time, I'm just saying. You know what's gonna happen. Oh, see, deja vu. No, you're gonna have to stop her bike at some point. We can't keep letting her fall into the water like this. So someone tampered with the brakes? Dun dun dun. I wonder why with her bike though. Just seems like a weird thing to tamper with. See, that has to be weird. Even my dreams aren't that detailed, I'm just saying. I like that we're getting some different shots too, which is a good thing with like repeating the story, that it's not just like the same exact shots with like different voiceover. Like we're seeing different parts of the story that were like cut out or skipped over in the first episode. So it's a good way of like it's a repeat, but we're still getting some different things in it, so it's more entertaining. I still find it strange that they have like the flowers so far up, and then there's apparently the marks around her neck. you know, like it's open casket, but they're still trying to kind of, you can't like see what the rest of her body looks like, and it seems like there is some other potentially foul play things going on. Yes, we should probably try and save the family from disappearing. I'm just saying. Also a good thought. I don't know what they are though. Weird doppelgangers. I also want to know about the Mio that was like outside of their house, just like watching them. Probably. Because Mio said that they like saw a shadow of Yushio. Mm-hmm. Broken break. I feel like I need a notepad to like go in full detective mode, you know? Maybe that's what I'll finally use my whiteboard for. Of my detective notes. Isn't this the time when there was the Mio outside? Like she was bathing, but then there was the shadow outside? See? I was paying attention to things. I'm on high alert. I'm probably missing a lot, but every time I actually do pick up on things, I'm like proud of myself. Put all the pieces together. Ugh, I didn't know this part happened. So does that mean he was a shadow at the diner before? He was just like hanging out, and that's why he was late? I feel so many things. So who's real and who's shadow? He hasn't been to the town in a long time. How long do they stay as a shadow of like a certain person before they move on? Are we absorbing lives or something? What's going on? Are we making a new shadow? Oh, I like how it's like still like translucent though, before it like fully forms into something. Oh, I love the glitch effect because it makes it seem like a program. I was gonna wonder what they did with the like bodies, because someone's gonna notice that, right? That's so disarming though when they meet at the cafe later when he sees Mio. So that's how she gets the gun. Oof. Jap in America. Ugh, not touching that one. Yeah, don't let them know you're there. Just saying. Uh-oh. Oh no. Ooh, the change in the artwork. So it's like very like drawing like and stuff. Oh, he's already what? Is there already a copy? Now I'm like, out of body experience? See, because the light around him is like what was going on with the shadow, though, which is intriguing, but also worrisome. Is that Yushio? Right, because he had that like vision thing where she was asking him to protect Mio. Ooh, he didn't restart to the same point. Interesting. I thought for sure we were going to reset the same way every time. But he's like slightly forward. So does that mean whatever his interaction was with the woman on the boat is like correct, or can he just not go back as far each time? I really want to know the mechanics. I love myself a good magic system. Yes, stop her bike. Ooh, graceful. You can't swim? You grew up around water. Why can't you swim? I can swim. I grew up around water. I feel like everyone should learn at least a little bit how to swim. Okay? You just gotta be able to, like, tread water. I had to take lessons. It was like a school requirement. Yeah, she seems to be investigating something. Are we hanging upside down? What's going on here? Yes, I have questions about the upside down part. Will it? I feel like it would just make you lightheaded. Who is she recording stuff for? And is she sending the recordings immediately? Because it seems like she should really try to get those to someone. Why is she focusing on the girl while she's talking about how it's among them? Are they saying that the little girl is the shadow? Oh, is he making sure that he's not going to be there outside of the house? Trying to save him? I gotta remember that, like, we've reset, so people are still around. I mean, isn't filing a false report illegal? I don't know if that's what we should be focusing on right now, because obviously, desperate times. But I think it's like a waste of police resources. Okay, okay, we're going on a mission. Will it matter though if it resets? You gotta survive the encounter. Okay, so you've gotta be able to, one, survive the encounter, and two, receive the recording. But if you reset and you don't have the recording anymore, then you gotta make sure that this one counts. You didn't know that? Well, now I feel like there's even more going on. Because that was right at the beginning. His eyes were different colors. Was that, I guess, after he had the vision on the boat with, Yushio? So maybe something happened with that? Boy, you can't just barge in while someone's bathing. You gotta at least knock. I'm just saying. I'm sure he, like, doesn't know which Miho is real, though. Still, at least knock. But also, like, it's just a video of Miho on his phone now. He can't, like, prove that she was somewhere else. Unless he's just trying to convince her to be on his side, then. But she's already seen the other one of Yushio, so she might be inclined to believe what's going on a little bit more than others. I mean, don't sugarcoat it. Just go with it. Yeah, don't confirm or deny. Just let them read whatever implication they want. It's entirely possible. Seems likely they seem to be murderous. So my question is though, since everyone in the town knows that Yoshio has died, then is that shadow taken on a new form? Is that the one that is Miho now? Or is it one of the other shadows that might just be around? Or do they, I assume they don't cease to be because they seem to have their own personalities and cognitive functions. So I'm assuming that just passed on as they take on new forms. Second episode, I'm not supposed to have the answers, okay? feel like it's also best if uh Shinpei, I don't think I'm gonna get his name right, but um he doesn't tell people about the time loop thing, because I feel like the less people that know, the better, because he doesn't know who's going to be turned into a shadow. And also, like, when a shadow takes on the form of someone else, is there still a cognitive link so they can get memories and stuff? Or is it just whatever memories they have at the moment they're copied? Because he doesn't want them to find out what he's doing. Ominous. I keep hoping there's a preview. So I feel like we did have the freak out trying to figure out what's going on moment that I was predicting going into this episode, but I like that we also didn't focus on that the whole episode. We did get into some of Shin like trying to figure out how to fix the problem. Like, he is trying to fix some of the problems, but I also feel it's not going to be the end of this. Like, I feel like he hasn't seen enough of the events that he's going to have to deal with, so he doesn't quite know yet what to prepare for. Like, he's still very new at what's going on, and I feel like that means that we're going to reset quite a few more times as he fails and needs to readjust to things. But I also find it interesting that when he reset, it wasn't to the same time. I assumed that we would reset, like it would be the same loop every time, but we didn't. We had him slightly forward when he'd already come off the boat, so that makes me think that maybe there's something about his ability, like he seems to have a little bit more awareness of it this time. When we saw him like going through the, like, I don't know, time vortex thing, makes me think of Doctor Who. When he was going through that and he saw Yushio, he seemed far more aware of something going on with his ability, that maybe he had slightly more control over it and he was able to pinpoint a little bit where he ended up. I don't know if he's going to gain more control over that as he like uses it more and more, or if it's just a mechanic that he doesn't get to go as far back as he did the original time and he's gonna have to like adapt to that. So we'll see how that turns out. Also thought it was interesting that he didn't know that his eyes had changed. I thought that that was something that seemed to have happened between some point as a kid to now, because I did go back and look at the picture of him when he was a kid after the last episode, because I was like, I think his eyes were both the same color. They're the dark blue and not like one dark and then one the light blue. And he didn't seem to know that before, which is odd that he just like didn't look in a mirror at any time during the first episode, but I digress. So he didn't seem to know that, and that makes me think that something has happened to kickstart whatever this ability is, and it isn't something that he's been like slowly developing towards over like his youth and growing up. So I wonder if it's because he came into proximity with the island again, because he did leave. So I wonder if it's something about that, or if it's about the traumatic events in general, what happened with like losing a friend and stuff like that that triggered it. I don't know if it has something to do with Yushio. There was some implication that maybe there's something else going on with Shin and the shadows. They seem to be aware of who he is in some capacity. We got like a little snippet of the Miho shadow talking about him like already something. So I don't know what that means, but we're gonna find out, I guess. Don't really know what the shadows are, so I don't know how much to deduce from that, but yeah, it's violent. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as graphic as it is. I was thrown a little bit by that. I wonder how much they're actually going to address the fact that he has experienced dying a few times, and I feel like it's only going to continue, because I feel like that is not going to be the best thing on his psyche. So I feel like we're gonna have to maybe address that. Maybe we'll conveniently not address it and focus on other plot things, but I'll have to wait and see, because I have not read the source material, so I do not know. But I feel like I have a few more clues, a few more things. I feel like really I'm going to end up using this whiteboard. I'm going to have like a bunch of sticky notes or something with like strings on everything, because I feel super detective mode where I'm like, the break was broken and we have that little clue of the connection between the shadows and Shin, and we got the woman who was on the boat who was focused on the little girl who was saved during the accident and has a very like glazed look, who ends up disappearing. So is she connected to the shadows and stuff? Is she one of the shadows? I feel like the woman on the boat knows a little bit what's going on because she's recording stuff and working with someone. So I feel like I gotta put my detective hat on and really dig into this, mostly because I want to. I really, really love mysteries, so I feel like I want to connect as many pieces as possible, but I feel slightly less confused at the end of this episode than the last one. So I feel like that's good writing. It's kind of grounding me a little bit, but I also feel like a wrench is just going to be thrown in that come the next episode, where they're just like, you thought you knew what was going on, and now let's turn everything upside down, because I feel like that's where this is going to go. I feel like I can't get comfortable with mystery stories, but I hope you enjoyed watching that episode along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reaction, or you can subscribe so you don't miss the next time I post a summertime rendering video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!